Hello and welcome. Thank you for being with me here today to go over the subject how to drink tequila or stop drinking tequila the wrong way. I'm Wheelgun Dan, and today I am going to tell you how to drink tequila. One of the things that inspired this video idea was that I got so sick and tired of seeing people drink tequila what I consider to be the wrong way. So, this is an educational channel, so we're going to go over how to drink tequila the correct way. We are going to talk about Mexico. We are going to talk about the United States. We're going to talk about people who live in the United States who would like to live in Mexico and people who live in Mexico who would like to live in the United States. All kinds of things. So we're going to drink tequila. We're going to have a little chat. And what could possibly go wrong? So let's get into it. I'm Wheelgun Dan. Always visit wheelgundan.com directly for all my latest activities and offerings. Like to point out that you're going to see a number of commercially available products in this video. I am not in any way compensated, paid, or anything by any of the people who make this stuff. They don't know me, but clearly we've met the other way around. So basically, the thing that drives me the nuttiest is that people say they try to drink tequila, they have a bad experience, and then they blame it on the tequila. And I say, well, no, that's because you're drinking it the wrong way, doggone it. So, let's get into it. Don Julio is really the only name that you need to know about tequila, okay? It is fantastic. Actually, any of these you can sip directly. You'll notice there's no salt, there's no lime, there's no shot glasses. All there is some tequila. It goes in a regular, ordinary glass. It's really that simple. There's no all that silliness you see with college stupids doing all the kind of stuff they do. All that's out the window. None of that is necessary. Here's how you sip tequila. You just go like this. Delicious. Man, is that good. And if you have a mustache, you get any on your mustache, you got to practice getting it off your mustache. That includes you too, ladies. I want to see you practice, getting off your mustache every time you take a sip. The reason that people get a lot of problems with headaches and things the next day is you have a really low quality tequila. I suspect that they put a lot of additives and everything because it takes such a long time to grow the agave plant in order to then harvest that, make a mash out of it, the way they do like a beer or whiskey or any of the other things. It takes a lot of time and effort to grow this plant. And so the blue agave is what they make this mash out of. Basically, the plant, it looks like a cactus. It's not really a cactus, but you go and look at it, and the ends of the big tall leaves will stick you. It looks like an aloe plant, only way huge bigger. So they chop off all the leaves, these big spines sticking out all over the place to where to get a thing that looks like a pineapple, only the pineapple is almost the size of a wine barrel or a whiskey barrel or something like that. So it's and then they take that and they chop it up. So at some point in the future, we're going to talk about mezcal. Today we're talking about tequila. So the blue agave plant is where they make this from. So basically, you may hear me refer to it as cactus whiskey. Yes, I know it's not a cactus, but it conveys the point in that it's a distillate that comes from a plant that resembles, in some ways, a cactus that only grows in Mexico. Mexico has got so many fascinating places that that you just don't even realize. Down south, they've got like these tropical jungles and stuff. You got the agave plant that grows only in Mexico. They've got their own kind of version of a Grand Canyon and huge wilderness areas. They've got beaches. They've got all kinds of stuff. Regrettably, that's not the part that makes the news quite often, but Mexico has got a lot of things going for it. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, I was like about 7 or 8 miles away from the border of Mexico in a place called Bisbee, Arizona. And mining. They've got a lot of mining going on there. And only a few miles away, I mean, God, Bisbee has pulled so much money out of the ground. Just on the other side of the border, it would make sense to me. Mexico has so many ways to make money. It's this capitalism thing. Same things that work to make the United States fantastic and produce a lot of wealth and everything. These principles of capitalism and stuff, capitalism done the right way, they will work anywhere in the world that you apply these principles, but I'm getting away from my subject here. So, this is really all you do. You put some tequila in a regular basic glass. This is not refrigerated. There's no salt, no lime, no silly rituals, nothing. If you're familiar with sipping, let's say, fine wine or something like that, I don't refrigerate this. I just keep it at an air-conditioned room temperature, and you just sip it. Now, I should also mention I'm not going to just tell you to drink responsibly. I've actually got a video specifically on how to drink responsibly. So that's another video. So you make sure to take a look at that sometime or listen to it or whatever. Because that's important, and all those rules apply here as well. And this is how you drink tequila. You sip it. It's a product from a produce section, for lack of a better term. It's a plant that grows out of the ground. They do the same things with how they make whiskey goes into this. They make a mash. They distill it. It goes into big giant stainless steel vats, and it produces tequila. It's got a very unique flavor. It's from the Southwest, where I'm from. It's just it's really, really fantastic. Now, I do like whiskey also, and there's a lot of whiskey drinkers out there that whiskey seems to be getting a lot more popular. I will do a whiskey video at some point. Today's tequila. One of the reasons you can have a big headache at the end of your drinking session or the next day is you're not properly hydrated. So I'm real picky about natural spring water. So for normally I do 3 ounces in a sitting. I didn't measure that because I didn't. I just hydrate myself as I go. So lack of proper hydration, having enough water in your system, is a huge cause of like headaches and hangovers and things like that. So you want to be properly hydrated. As I mentioned in my Drink Responsibly video, I don't ever allow myself to be intoxicated. So I know how much I weigh. I know how much alcohol I can consume in a session or in a 24-hour period, which for me it's basically 3 ounces. That's just how I do it. These lights are hot, and I'm wearing an authentic reproduction of Clint Eastwood's I don't know what you call this thing that he used in the spaghetti westerns. Like this, I got this This is from Mexico. So it's all part of the theme today. So not sure if that was quite 3 ounces or not. But anyways, Mexico has an awful lot going for it. The United States has a lot going for it. You know, there are, if a person's going to live in a country, I don't care what country it is. I've said this in other times and places, but if you live in a particular country, it's okay to be proud of your country. It especially helps if you are ever living in that country, you're a citizen of that country, and let's say that country is going to go to war or something like that. You're going to, somebody's got to defend that country, and it's okay for the people who live in that country to be the ones to rise up to defend the country. So there's nothing wrong with, patriotism for Mexico. If you're from Mexico and you are proud of Mexico, fantastic. Mexico has got a lot of good things going for it and everything. Lots and lots of good things. I think every country, perhaps, there's maybe room for improvement, but I'm not talking about these things now. I'm talking about, just basic things. So if you're a citizen of a country, you should be ready, willing, and able to do everything that you can to protect that country. That's part of being a citizen of any country. I like to watch hockey, for instance, oddly enough. Ice, snow, all that stuff. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But there's a guy named Alexander Ovechkin, for instance. Okay, he's a guy from Russia. He loves Russia. He's, proud of being Russian. Fantastic. I don't have a problem with that. The same way with anyone who wants to live in the United States. I believe that if you want to live in the United States, you want to be a citizen of the United States. I believe all citizens of the United States should, in their own way, do whatever it takes in order to preserve the United States and keep the United States free from harm, from attack, or from, any harm that can come from another country, whether it's something as dramatic as like a Red Dawn scenario. I'm referring to the movie was that the 70s or was that the 80s? Oh man, that's good. Foreign troops land in this movie. They land in the United States, and then it's up to the people, to ordinary citizens, to do what they can to rise up to defend their own country. All countries expect you to, as a citizen of whichever country you live in, they expect you to do your part to protect the country. It's not just the job of the police or the military or anything like that. It's up to everybody to do their own individual part in doing their part to protect the country. World War II in the United States was a great example of that. You had, the men would go off to war, and the women would stay here and build aircrafts and bombs and ammo and all that kind of stuff. And everybody would turn off their lights, and everybody participated. That's kind of what I'm getting at. There's people in the United States, they like to go and they're citizens of the United States, but they like to live in Mexico. Okay, so the only people that I know of that I can cite right now that maybe any of you have heard of would be, let's say, Jesse Ventura, for instance. He, was a governor of Minnesota at some point. Now he lives in Mexico because, I don't know, I haven't talked to him. Sammy Hagar, rock star Sammy Hagar, was known for having a house for many years in Cabo Wabo, Mexico. If you like to, if your thing is to drink alcohol and stroll on the beach all day, and that's your idea of living, Mexico might be a good place to live if you want to save money on taxes and property values and whatever. I don't know. I've never talked to Mr. Hager either. I don't know why he lives there, but I assume it probably has something to do with the low cost of living, and you can, you get man, it's too hot to be wearing this stuff here in front of all these lights. And it's not the tequila either. So, um, yeah, so fine. Um, Likewise, if people want to move to the United States and live in the United States, no problem. The entire United States is made up of immigrants. Okay, and there's the Native American nations that have lived here a very long time. How long have they lived here? I don't know, but they've lived here a long time. Um, the eventually the rest of the world started moving in and all that kind of stuff. That's another story for another day on how things went down with that. But we're all here now. um, there's a lot of things that went into deciding where the border lines are and stuff like that. It's a ever changing thing. There's things that go into that. And no, it wasn't that people stole it from other people. That's not entirely true. There's maybe some of that, but some of that was done on both sides. And then, where I was born and raised in Arizona, that particular land wasn't stolen from anybody. It was purchased from Mexico. Mexico cashed a check. The United States, paid Mexico for that land. And all the people who were living in Mexico at that time, extreme northern Mexico at that particular time, all of a sudden, boop, found themselves living in the United States once they moved the border a lot farther south to where it is today. I think it's called the Gadsden Purchase, which I believe encompassed the little part of land where I film my videos to this day, and where I was born and raised and everything. Yeah, so, anyway, there, a lot of history and everything. So my point to all of this is that there's nothing wrong with wanting to go and move and live in another country. All I'm getting at is that if you are going to live in a country, you want to be a citizen of a different country, you should become fully involved in that other country that you want to live in. You want to get to the place where if you are a citizen of that country, you renounce your citizenship of one country, and then you want to become a citizen 100% of another country, then you should be prepared to, if necessary and called upon to do so, go to war and fight with that country who would like you to help protect it in the event that that country goes to war. That's part of the deal of being a citizen of any country, not just the United States or Mexico or any country. As a matter of fact, that's good. I was in the Army. I was in training. There was a period of training called advanced individual training that comes after basic training, where I was learning my specialty from the Army. And we had a guy in our training class. This guy was incredible. He was very well liked, but he was a citizen of the country of Mexico, yeah. And he was in the United States as part of some agreement, some kind of deal. He told us that he made this deal that if he would serve in the United States Army for a period of a certain number of years, then he would be able to then become a citizen of the United States. Fantastic. So not only is that awesome, but this guy in particular, he was well liked. He was well admired by everybody because he was an outstanding soldier. He had tremendous physical abilities. We would give him a hard time, because we liked him, so we pick on him the way when you're at your job, and they pick on you because they like you kind of thing. So we would pick on him in that way. Not me so much because I don't know how to do that so much. But anyway, so, some of the guys, they would razz him about, why he could run so good because he was able to enter the country that way and stuff like that. It was horrible. But, look, if you're not in the military, you don't know how the military way of thinking is. You might think, oh my God, that's horrible. You can't say or do that. Okay, look, The military is an interesting place. It's almost like being in another country. It's another world. It's got its own rules and stuff, but it was all good. Everybody admired this guy, and I don't know where he went in his career, but if he went special forces or something like that, it would not surprise me. But good for him. I hope everything went well with his becoming an American citizen and all that. I went off to one assignment. I don't know where he went with his assignment. So good for him. That is the right way to, for instance, to come into the United States. That's one of many right ways, and good for him. There's some wrong ways to come into the United States and live here. Let me explain. Man, that's good stuff. So let's talk about the wrong way. So let's say, for instance, somebody wants to come into the United States, but they don't want to contribute. They don't want to do their part. They don't want to help defend the country. They don't want to. They don't want to be like other citizens. Let's say they want to live here, but they either want to be a citizen on paper, but they don't really want to maintain any sort of genuine allegiance to the United States. So, that could be a problem. So, in recent history, as of the time and filming of this particular video, let's say, for instance, the Democratic Party of the United States of America, they want to go and allow anybody from, let's just pick Mexico for the sake of argument right now. Let's pick on Mexico. They want to allow everybody from Mexico who wants to come into the United States and live in the United States, and maybe even become a citizen. They want to do that, but they do not want to require any of these people who want to come to the United States. They don't want to require them to do anything the same as the citizens of the United States who are already here. They don't want to require these immigrants to have any sort of documentation. They don't want them to have to swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, to defend the United States if called upon. Here's the thing, and so the Democratic Party does this in the hopes that they'll attract a bunch of new voters who will then vote for the Democratic Party, and that's one of the strategies that the Democratic Party uses in order to gain, boost their voting totals, and then this has to do also with the requirement to prove that you're a citizen of the United States or not, with the whole voting and ID and presenting your ID to make sure that you're a qualified voter. So tying in with what I was saying earlier, if you are going to be a citizen of the United States, there's a lot of things that go with that. There's the right to vote. You are also required to perform jury duty. It could be you're called upon to defend the country, in time of war. There's a lot of things that go along with that, and that's all part of the big picture of being a citizen of any country. So, in this case, the Democratic Party to embrace people to come into the United States, where they don't have to do any of the stuff everyone else does. Let's say they even want to make these immigrants citizens of the United States without requiring all that other stuff. Let me put it this way. If I was a person from Mexico and I wanted to live in the United States of America, I wouldn't want to be looked down upon by everyone else who's already a citizen. I would want to participate and do everything that the normal citizens do. I wouldn't want to move into the United States and then all of a sudden be a burden to the country by, as soon as you get here, start filling out, Social Security claims and getting a whole bunch of money without having to actually go and do a job and work and all that other kind of stuff. Citizens of the United States who've been here their whole life, they have a Social Security number, they go to work, they pay taxes, they do all this other kind of stuff. They're held to a certain standard. If I was a person from Mexico and I wanted to come into the United States, I wouldn't want to get any free passes or any special considerations and everything. I'd want to be held as, if I became a citizen of the United States, I'd want to be held to the same standards that everyone else who is already a citizen of the United States, I'd want to be held to the same standards so that, I'd have the self-respect to, to look everybody in the eye and know that I'm doing my part to, be just like everybody else. You earn that respect. The United States is a land of opportunity, not guaranteed outcomes, but that's a different subject. So the other side of that coin is, if you're going to have a party like the Democratic Party who is going to essentially throw the existing citizens under the bus by giving foreign nationals special privileges and all this other kind of stuff to come in to the United States, to live here, to break all the rules and get away with it and everything, that's the same kind of corrupt political organizations that did a lot of the damage to other countries. That the people of Mexico, for instance, right now, okay, there's a lot of politics going on in Mexico that the people of Mexico don't like, so that's why they want to move out of Mexico, okay? So by a person moving from Mexico to the United States and being embraced by the Democrats and then voting for Democrats, that's essentially the same thing as helping the same kind of corruption that you got in Mexico or this other countries that you don't like the corruption that's there. That's the same exact kind of corruption that you would then be supporting in the United States. If the Democratic Party is going to throw citizens of the United States under the bus by not protecting the border, the people who live in the United States from harm, to make sure that, look, if you want to come into the United States, there's a legal way to do it. The problem is the Democrats don't like following the law, and they don't want to require people who can't meet the requirements. They don't want to have them follow the rules. So if they're going to throw the citizens under the bus, then you become a citizen one day as a Mexican immigrant into the United States. Great, you become a citizen, and you vote for Democrats because they helped you get into the country, and they helped you, bend and break some rules, and, they gave you a free pass and all that kind of stuff. If you're going to support that kind of an organization like the Democratic Party, then what happens in the future down the road when now you, as a former Mexican national who's become a citizen of the United States, they're going to do the same thing to you at some point, once you see what I'm getting at. So there's a right way to come into the United States. You don't want to be doing anything that is going to be looked down upon you by everyone else who's already a citizen. Do you want to be treated as an equal? If you want to immigrate into the United States, do you want to be embraced and treated as an equal with respect and all that? Or do you want to be looked down upon as somebody who is skirting the rules, who's getting away with stuff that we're not allowed to get away with, or something like that? Where, these people who are citizens, they go to work, they get a job and everything, but then these other people, they come from Mexico and they don't get a job, and they wind up just pulling a lot of money out of the... Look, it's been documented that, the last time I looked this up was, I think the year 2018. The year 2018, it's well established that the United States paid out $4.5 billion in fraudulent tax returns from people who came from Mexico into the United States, filed false tax returns, and then got all these refunds, and then started sending all this money back to Mexico, and they're put in their own pockets and family members, and they started spreading this all out and everything. That's not good for any country. If you want to live in a country and you want to live in the United States, when they say that the United States is a free country, it doesn't mean that you get free stuff. That's not what it means. It means that you're supposed to live in a country where the government isn't constantly regulating every last little tiny thing in your life and telling you what to do every, 6 seconds of the day. That's not what a free country is supposed to be. A free country means you have the right to go and make decisions for your own life, follow your own path, pursue happiness, live life, have a great job, find happiness, and just live your life without the government telling you what to do. That's what a free country is supposed to be. So a lot of people look down on it. Look, don't get mad at me. If you were on a basketball team or you're on a hockey team or something and you got a couple players that aren't pulling their weight, they're not doing they're not participating, they're not helping the team, would the other players of that team not look down on those two individuals or whatever that aren't pulling their weight? I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Do you want to be one of those people who is not pulling their weight, or do you want to be, treated as an equal along with everybody else? If you're going to come into the United States from Mexico, for instance, and you want to be a citizen of the United States of America, fantastic. Welcome. Okay? The only thing that, everyone else who's doesn't have anything to do with the Democratic Party is asking is just participate. Do just like everyone else did. Look, my ancestors immigrated from a couple of different places, Germany and Ireland. Okay, so they came here, they got jobs, they're farmers and whatever. Great, no problem. There's a right way to come to the United States, to be an immigrant of the United States. You don't want to come in and cheat the system. You don't want to support a party that doesn't believe in the rule of law. They say that when the cameras are rolling, but they really, really don't support and defend the Constitution. If you're going to come to a country, look, if I, my given last name, is German, for instance. Okay, if I were to decide I want to go and live in Germany, okay, and I want to be a citizen of Germany because, let's say, I'm so fascinated with German-made firearms, for instance. I want to be close to the HK factory or something like that. If I went to Germany, I would not expect everyone to speak English on my behalf because, well, that's what I speak. I don't speak any other languages currently, sort of. If I went to Germany, I would respect the culture. I would learn how to speak German. I would learn how they do things in Germany, and then I would do things like that they do in Germany. There's a lot of things they do in Germany which I think are fantastic. I wish we could do some of those things here. but there's some things that we're allowed to do here that you're not allowed to do in Germany. So I like the United States. So that's, so anyway. So these are some things that I've been thinking about. Mexico is a fantastic place. There's a lot of positive things about Mexico. They've got great geographical features. They've got mountains and hiking trails and all kinds of wonderful wilderness. There's desert, there's beaches, there's all kinds of stuff. Yes, I'm aware that there's a lot of bad stuff going on there as well, but there's a way to fix that too. If you want to make Mexico a better place, and you don't want to, let's say you're a Mexican national, and you don't want to, you're proud of Mexico, fantastic. You can't get tequila anywhere else but from Mexico, right? Let's say you want to stay in Mexico. The freedom that we have in the United States, it came from people owning guns, and taking their country, from wrestling it away from a tyrannical organization. So it's not a new story. It's been happening for thousands of years. The people of Mexico will have to rise up and take their country back. I also think that maybe the United States could probably help with that by not making certain narcotics, for instance, illegal, which boosts the profitability for the drug cartels and everything. So, I saw a lot of pictures of Democrats who are in Congress right now, or still sitting Congress people, in Mexico being wined and dined, by drug cartel people. There's pictures on the internet. I don't have to show it to you. You can go find it yourself. I can't help but think that, maybe, there's people in the United States, who run this place who are getting paid off to, let's talk about, marijuana, for instance, cannabis, to keep it illegal so that it becomes highly profitable for the drug cartels. And then the more money the drug cartels have, then, the more bad things they can impose upon the people of Mexico. And then they create a situation where then people who live in Mexico, who should, love living in Mexico, then they don't want to live in Mexico anymore. They want to go somewhere else. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to move to America, great, move to America. But if you're going to move to America, be an American, But if you want to stay in Mexico, there's a way to do it. The United States did it in 1776. I don't know that we'd be able to do that again today, but anyways, there's nothing wrong with being patriotic towards your country. Whatever country you are a citizen of, I wish you well. Be the best citizen of whatever country that you are a citizen of. Okay. The entire world cannot immigrate to the United States. There's literally no way the United States can physically accommodate 7 billion people. It's just not gonna happen. Like I said earlier, the same things that made the United States a fantastic place to live are the same principles that would make all these other countries just as awesome to live as the United States. And then maybe, the people in the United States will get sick of all the recent rules and regulations, and then maybe they'll want to immigrate to different, states or countries, that. So if you continue to follow the different video presentations that I'll be sharing on the internet, I will be going over a lot of these in-depth things of what it takes for a country to be a fantastic country like the United States. I'm going to be sharing with you the very specific reasons why the United States is such a fantastic country, how it became such a fantastic country, and what it takes to maintain that fantasticness. I know it's not a real word, but I'm not, anyway. Man, that is good. So, how to drink tequila correctly. You have just seen a demonstration of how to drink tequila correctly. That's really all there is to it. Maintain yourself with hydration. Do not become intoxicated. And have pleasant and candid conversation. Hey, one more thing I wanted to tell you about. I forgot to tell you about this earlier. So, Don Julio is really the only name in tequila that you really need to know. But it's not very, it's not cheap. It's kind of pricey. There's going to be times where maybe you are going to want to make a margarita or something like that. And so with a margarita, you don't necessarily want to use anything that's like $50 for a fifth or something like that. The and this is the Recipado rested, and then there's a añejo, which is aged. So this goes right from the distillation process directly into the bottle. This gets rested for a little while. It's aged a little bit. This is really good. Both of these are good. You can sip these. It's the high-end tequila that you can just sip it like you've seen me do today. And then the añejo, the aged, it's aged even longer than this is right here. You want to protect the tequila. You want to keep it away from heat and light. That's why it comes in these boxes that you see over there. You want to keep heat and light away from it so it doesn't degrade the cactus whiskey. If you're going to make margaritas and you want something a little more affordable, I don't know how to say this because I don't speak Spanish yet. Espolon, I don't know. But this is really cool. Okay, it's got a skeleton riding a chicken into battle on it. It's got this amazing Mexican artwork on it. It's really good. Now you can sip this, okay? But it's also more affordable to where, like, if you're having a party and you want to mix a bunch of tequila and put it in, in some margarita mix and everything, this is a more affordable way to go about it. And then there's this stuff here. This is the añejo. It's aged. Now, I don't know how to say this either. El Jimador. I don't know. I'm not a representative or spokesperson of any of these companies. But if I were, I would hope these guys would give me a call because Don Julio is amazing. So Don Julio, they've made their tequila bottles short so that when you're sitting at the dinner table, everybody can look right over the top of the bottles. Except for the Don Julio 1942, which is a really tall bottle, but anyways, who cares? Anyway, so there's one particular brand that I won't say the name of it, but it's the kind of tequila that they sang songs about in the 1970s or whatever, and so on and so forth. Look, if you do drink too much tequila and you want to take your clothes off and go running around, okay, I'm just letting you know there's really nothing wrong with that, if you ask me and stuff. But don't blame it on the tequila. That's a good way to get vitamin D, is running around outside where your skin has full exposure to the sun. But check your local laws for whether you're allowed to do that or not. Always remain hydrated. Make sure you're drinking enough water. I don't know who Texas Jack is. I'm Wheelgun Dan. This is not Texas Jack. Nevada Jack. Sorry, Nevada Jack. I don't know who Nevada Jack is, but he apparently makes some high quality poker chips. Ceramic, casino grade poker chips, which have skulls and everything on it. These things are really groovy. I don't gamble, except with my life. And that's it. Oh, yeah. You want to know what my cards were? There you go. You can't see that because these are fancy pants cards. They've got skulls on them, so I think skulls are kind of cool. Let's see. I got I got 2 aces and 3 eights. So anyway, what did I miss? I think that's about it. So you're trying to be more affordable. These guys here are a lot more affordable, very good quality. All right, I'm going to say it. Don't buy Jose Cuervo. That's crap. Okay. Don Julio. And if you're in a fancy pants restaurant and you would like to have some high-end tequila and they don't have Don Julio because nobody's heard of Don Julio or whatever the case may be, you can get some Patron, okay, if you have to. And that's as close to top shelf mainstream tequila that you can get. Get some Patron. It's, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I want to do a video on how to drink rum. Yep. And the same company that makes Patron also makes a rum, which I'll talk about in that rum video. So those are the things that I think I missed. Yep, not a paid sponsor or endorser of any of these sort of things. I just thought I'd share it with you. Don Julio is so delicious and it's so yummy. Oh my God, it's so good. Delicious. Man, is that good. That's how you drink tequila. You just sip it. You don't act like an idiot. You don't drink too much. You don't have a hangover the next day. And if you do run around naked afterwards, don't blame it on the tequila. That's A-okay with me. That's it. This is how you do it. You have a nice conversation. Yep, I think I'm going to... So I did a video now on cactus whiskey. I know it's not a cactus. Some cactus whiskey. I'm going to do some video on some whiskey. A whiskey video. I want to do a video on rum. And then we'll see, mezcal. I'll tell you the difference between tequila and mezcal. That'll be on a future video as well. So, thanks for being here. Wheelgun Dan, wheelgundan.com. Tell all your friends, and don't get mad at me if I speak candidly and tell you how it is straightly. So, thanks. Howdy, I'm Wheelgun Dan. Welcome to my collection of videos. In this collection of videos, I'm going to talk about America, guns, and freedom. So welcome. Feel free to peruse the collection of videos. Should be a thing around here someplace to click like, subscribe, notifications. So enjoy yourself. What kind of bug is that over there? Okay, feel free to peruse the video collection anytime now.